This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of the city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of this board is final. In respect, it does not go to the mayor or the city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse in a court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. The final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Ferguson?
Here.
Mr. Graham?
Here.
Ms. Powers? Mr. Riggs?
Here.
Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mr. Hennessy?
Here. Okay, approval of the minutes of last meeting. Is there a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Darling?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Citizens to be heard on the agenda items. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding items listed on the agenda, except items listed under public hearing, which everything on the agenda is. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak? If not, we will continue with our new business. I have a request to move petition 2018-22 to the foremost. It should take just a few minutes. If there are no objections to the board, let's hear that one.
Mr. Chair, petition 2018-22 is an application. The applicant is Eddie Hartzell, Express Signs and Lighting and Maintenance sign contractor, and the owner of the property is Diane Investments LLC. This is a location at 927 Gardner Street. It's a request for a sign variation to allow a monument sign setback reduction from 10 feet to 5 feet in order to allow the installation of a monument sign. The ZBA makes the final decision for this type of variation request. Under site-specific information, the lot is approximately 1.87 acres and contains 2 commercial buildings. The property is currently zoned I-1 light industrial. The petition was filed on April 6, 2018, surrounding zoning, land use, and character. To the north, commercial, zoned I-1 and used for light industrial. To the east, commercial, zone B3, general business, and also residential R2A, which is single family. To the south is Knoll Park, which is zoned R3, and that is for 1 and 2 family residential zoning. And to the west is commercial, zoned I1. Applicable regulations are as noted in the staff report. Under a brief discussion, the petitioner is requesting the variation on monument sign setback reduction from 10 feet to 5 feet in order to install a monument sign for Pomps Tire Service. The entire sign will be 12 feet wide and 24 feet high with a total sign area of 111 square feet. 2 internally illuminated signs, one for Bridgestone and one for Pomps Tire Service, will be mounted on a 4 foot wide black aluminum pole. The sign would need a reduced setback because of the building being located 20.5 feet from the property line on the south side of the lot along Doris Avenue, where the sign will be installed. The sign graphic and plat of survey are attached, and that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
May I have your name and address?
Eddie Hartzell, 3207 Wild Oak Court, Joliet.
Go ahead.
Other than just being sitting close to the building and the property line is 21 foot off the building, or I think 20 foot off the building. And it's not going to be right by the street anyway, because Knoll Park has a 20-foot easement there, and they have parking if you look at the plat of survey. So it's really not sitting close to the road. So
That it?
that's it.
Any questions by the board? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition at the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion second to approve the petition. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Ms. Darling?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll proceed with the rest of the agenda. Juanita Salerno in the audience. Petition 2018-20.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, petition 2018-20. The applicant is Juanita Salerno. Owner is Chicago Title Land Trust, trust number 3492-09. Location is 613 North William Street. This is a request for a variation of use to allow the continuation of a 2-unit, which is an R3 1 and 2 family use in an R2 single family zoning district located at 613 North William Street. The variation of use request must be considered by the City Council following the recommendation of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Under site-specific information, the 2-story brick building sits on an 8,700 square foot lot that is 60 feet wide by 138 feet deep. The lot was recorded in 1910. The building was constructed around 1920 as a single-family home. The property was used as a single-family home until the early 1950s. Joliet Polk directories show that there were 2 households from the mid-1950s onwards. A recent site inspection confirms that the building consists of 2 separate housing units with separate entrances and utilities, and appears to have been built as a 2-unit for several decades. A floor plan that shows the existing 2-unit layout is attached. The case was filed March 29th of 2018. The 1965 city zoning map shows that the property was classified as R2 single-family residential, which it maintains. The current zoning map attached shows that all properties in the neighborhood are zoned R2, and the surrounding land use in this neighborhood also consists of single-family homes. I will bring to your attention an addendum that was submitted today.
Read that now, please.
Yes, that adds a little bit of additional information to the report. Planning staff have received updated information regarding the variety of housing types in the neighborhood surrounding 613 North William Street. The previous staff report noted that the zoning and land use in the area consist of single-family homes. While single-family residential is the predominant land use in the neighborhood, there are a few 2-unit properties which have either R3, 1 and 2 family zoning, or have been approved for a variation of use. These properties are indicated on the attached map. So you now have a map in your report showing the subject property circled in red, and those properties that have a green dot, those addresses, I should say, that have a green dot are properties that have 2 or more housing units. And those on the map that have a brown dot are just the master addresses. So you can kind of see there's a lot of dots on this map, but the idea is that there are quite a few interspersed and sprinkled through the neighborhood, a number of other structures that also have 2 units. So we wanted to just add that piece of information to your report. And I'll just finish summarizing the report with the surrounding zoning, land use, and character. Again, to the north, south, east, and west in all directions is zoned R2, with the caveat that some of those buildings are in fact 2 units. Applicable regulations are as noted in your report. Under a brief discussion, the petitioner purchased the property October 6th of 2017, believing the building to be a lawful 2-unit building. The real estate listing from this time claimed that the building was a 2-unit, and that listing is attached to your report. And the building has separate utilities and entrances. The owner subsequently allowed approximately 8 of their employees to live in the building, and the city fielded a few complaints about overcrowding and activity occurring on the property. The Division of Neighborhood Services investigated these complaints and determined that the owner needed approval for a 2-unit. The owner then attempted to sell the building as a single-family home. The property was listed for sale December 1st of 2017 as a single-family home. That listing is also attached to your report. But the listing noted that a 2-unit was possible with proper city zoning approvals. The property went under contract soon after, but the contract did not close and the listing was canceled. The building was relisted as a single-family home on February 8th of 2018. It went under contract again, but the listing was ultimately canceled March 27th of 2018. Being unable to resell it as a single-family home, the owners applied for a variation of use on March 29th of 2018 to allow the existing building to continue as a 2-unit residential building. The city received a complaint in early April regarding activity at the house. The Division of Neighborhood Services investigated this complaint and found no evidence of overcrowding as a 2-unit. Per city ordinance, building occupancy is dictated by bedroom and living areas. Each unit is 2 bedrooms with adequate area for 4 individuals per unit. The city's definition of a family unit is up to 4 unrelated individuals. The Division of Neighborhood Services has allowed the 2-unit to continue pending the results of this application for a variation of use for the property. The building previously participated in the city's rental inspection program. It was removed from the program in 1993 when the building was found to be an owner-occupied 2-unit building. Staff recommends participation in the city's rental inspection program, as well as the landlord and tenant screening program, in the event that the building is not an owner-occupied 2-unit. The zoning and land use in this area consists of single-family homes. The property is well-maintained and appears as a single-family home from the street. The property includes adequate off-street parking for a 2-unit building with two-car garages, which gain their access via an unpaved alley access. Staff recommends paving the driveway off of the alley and into the 2 garages. Staff also recommends that the property owner repair or replace the broken sidewalk along the north wall of the southernmost garage. If the zoning board desires to approve the variation of use being requested, the following conditions would be included. 1, the driveway off the alley and into the garages shall be paved. 2, the broken sidewalk along the north wall of the southernmost garage shall be repaired or replaced. 3, the property owner shall participate in the Joliet landlord and tenant screening program. 4, the property owner shall participate in the city's rental inspection program. And 5, should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and possible revocation of this variation of use. That concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I swear you in. You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes, sir.
You have your names and addresses.
My name is Robert Salerno, and my wife was Juanita Salerno that submitted the application.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the City of
Speak into the
Joliet.
mic, please. We have to record this, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the City of Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is John Urban. I'm the attorney for Juanita Salerno and Mr. Robert Salerno, who are both beneficiaries of the owner Chicago Title Trust. I believe the staff report was very well done, and I believe Mr. Salerno, if this board and the city were to approve this, he's in agreement with the conditions that are being requested by staff. I don't know if Mr. Salerno would like to add anything more to what has already been stated.
Not just that, I'm willing to do that and exceed that by a wide margin. We've already had appraisals for coming in and putting $39,000 worth of windows in it, and also upgrading all the carpet by taking it out and putting hardwood floors in there. I have I am a seasonal company. My employees only work 6 months from out of state. We bring them in, and it's a seasonal piece of property. I'm not here to have a large amount of tenants come in and vacate. I'm willing to agree to any and all of your stipulations that you put forth today. And can I tell you, if this is what it takes to make it work, I want to live by them and obey by them and exceed by them.
Thank you. How did this come before us in the first place? I mean, does this go back to the 50s when it slipped through the cracks, or what? That's apparently where all this started.
You know, we find these from time to time. I don't know if this was going through a refinancing maybe, or, okay, so possibly, was it an inspection or a complaint?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How did this come to light that they had to come in for the variation of use?
Well, it was placed on the market back in October.
Okay.
And then the complaint came, it was sold, and then the complaint came in about the potential for overcrowding, and that's what triggered
So,
our investigation.
So for the record, Jane Bernhardt is our planner on this case. What I'm told is that the property was placed on the market and the listing triggered some interest, and also there were some complaints based on the occupancy of the building and a perception that maybe there was some illegal activity.
If it was occupied since the 50s, pretty much as a 2-unit, up until the 70s, nobody caught that at all, huh? 20 years?
I'm not sure what precipitated, why all of a sudden, but it was listed for sale, and that might have caught some eyes.
It was never legally made
Yeah.
a 2-unit zoning.
It's been a 2-unit since the 1950s.
It occupied as a 2-unit, but was it a legal 2-unit?
We don't have information that it was done improperly. We find this, like I said, throughout the neighborhood. There are situations like this where we catch them later because maybe they're going through a refinancing. In this particular case, I don't know if it was a change in tenants or something that triggered sort of the concerns and the issues that have come up.
Question, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, could you elaborate on the complaints that came in regarding this property?
I don't have that information other than what was stated in the staff report. I just know that there were.
We'll be calling on witnesses. Are there witnesses here?
All right, maybe we'll find out more.
Okay.
Can I make a
Any
comment,
further
please?
questions by the board? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Who here is opposed?
Aye.
Do you have a spokesperson?
Would I be able to make one last comment, please?
We'll allow you to speak, sir.
No?
You'll be able to make a rebuttal, yes.
Thank you.
I swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Name and address.
Lori Gilmore, 909 Mason Avenue.
Mike. The other one.
This one?
There you go.
Is that better? Lori Gilmore, 909 Mason Avenue in Joliet. I live near the building, and also I need to disclose that I am a licensed real estate broker in the state of Illinois, practicing in and around Joliet for the last 12 years. So I may look at this through a slightly different lens than some of the other neighbors who live closer and are able to observe the goings-on in the building. But the first thing that caught my attention was the fact that it was able to be marketed and close as a perceived 2-unit when finding zoning in the city of Joliet is a simple process. I noted in the application that the applicant noted the building to the north of the property was also a 2-unit. I was a little shocked because I'm familiar with that house and I know that neighbor. So I took the liberty of filing a Freedom of Information request through the city of Joliet to actually find out the proper zoning of the neighbor's home, 617 William. I did that Monday morning. It took about 5 minutes for me to verify the PIN number and to submit that request through the City of Joliet website. 24 hours later, I received notice that my application was completed, and I received a letter from Kendall Jackson's office confirming that the property to the north was indeed a single-family home. So I'm a little shocked that during the marketing and from contract to closing, nobody in the transaction, and I was not a party to that transaction, but nobody took the 5 minutes that it would have taken to find out what the underlying zoning for that building was. If any of my clients are spending significant money to purchase a property, we want to make sure that it can be used for the purpose they intend. So I was a little shocked by that. Second thing that I noted, in the staff report, they did note that it was marketed as a single-family home. You actually have listing sheets that I printed and for one of the CAPA members, and they ended up in your packet, so I think I can speak to those listing sheets. You'll note on there that there's a disclosure that says that we believe the information to be accurate, but really you should investigate for yourself, so a little bit of buyer beware. But speaking to the listings when they tried to market it as a single-family home, indeed, it did not close. But I do have copies, if you'd like, of the underlying activity. So it was listed as a single-family home on 12/1. It went under contract on 12/8. That seems to be a very short market time. So obviously there was market demand for that home. That contract did not close. Again, I wasn't party to that transaction, so I don't know why it didn't make it all the way to the closing table. So the listing was reactivated. It went back under contract. It was reactivated on the 14th of December, went back under contract on December 17th. Again, fairly short market time before somebody else made an offer to purchase that building. Again, I don't know why that contract didn't close. Listing was canceled on 2/8. It was put out there as a new listing that same day on 2/8 and one under contract on 2/9. Again, in my estimation, that if you have a ready, willing, and able buyer that's making an offer to purchase a property, that indicates that there is some market demand. Again, don't know why those contracts didn't close, but it does seem that there are buyers that are willing to purchase that piece of property. Anyway, so that being said, I think there are some neighbors that live a little bit closer that can maybe answer the question as to why it ended up on your agenda today. I think there's some concerns about not only the number of people living there, but maybe some of the other activities, and I'm hoping somebody else that lives closer that maybe sees that on a daily basis could speak to that. But on one final note, I would think that if a property owner is going before the zoning board and wants to be a good neighbor, they might have cut their grass, because at this point, it's so long that it's going to seed. So it just doesn't appear to the neighborhood that there was A, due diligence done during this transaction, and B, there is a market for a single-family home here, and C, well-maintained, I think, is a questionable at this point. So, thank you. Can I answer anything? And would you like copies of the information?
Anyone else wishing to speak?
How many people live in the building?
I think we need to determine what tenancy is, because I screen for property owners on a regular basis who are looking for tenants. I do background checks, I do credit checks, I verify employment, I verify income, I make sure they understand if there's a crime-free ordinance like we have in the city of Joliet, if there are certain community expectations, rules, and regulations. I can't speak to how these individuals have been screened, and again, I don't know that I could speak to how many people are there. But Mike, I think might be able to.
I swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address.
Mike Balt, 619 North William Street. So I have a couple things. One is just because it's been run as basically an undercover or not legal 2-unit for years, why does the law need to change to make what somebody else did right? If I break the law doing something else, they don't change the law to make what I did right. So I can speak about some of the complaints because I see the miniature school bus, the short school bus, drop off and pick people up, and or the extended vans, front and back, different hours of the day. So, and I've seen more than 8 people loading and unloading. In the fall, I came home, there were garbage bags in the parkways in front of my neighbor's house, the house that in question, in my house, with people running in and out, bringing them in the house. Not something I want to see. So.
Is your objection that it is a 2-unit because it's been occupied for over 20 years as a 2-unit, or is it because of the problems created by the present owner?
I would say a combination of both. It's a fragile neighborhood. I've lived in the neighborhood for 20 years. I thought it was a single family until I went through it when it was listed and realized it was a 2-unit, which, yeah, it appeared to be a 2-unit. It had kitchens upstairs, downstairs. Anyway, I was interested in it as a single family and was, didn't want it as a 2-unit, so I just left. But
you're saying you lived there all that time and you never realized it was a 2-unit?
I didn't really realize it was. It looked like a single family from the street. It was quiet and, just.
So there was no problem with it being a 2-unit. It was changed when the new owner took it. Okay, thank you for your comments. Anyone else wish to speak? Let's not have duplication of what's been said before, though.
I live next door.
Okay.
My name is.
You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
Name and address.
Mary Larson, 617 North William. Okay, I talked to the gentleman when he first bought the house. I didn't know what was going on. He said he does seasonal work. Okay, and that would be the months of.
Your comments up here.
The months of April, like probably October, would be 6 months. Well, in Monday, October 16th, I saw 13 people come in, and they were carrying their mattresses out in the morning and putting them in a garage. And they would scurry, the van would beep their horn and they would run out. And they have 2 entrances, so there's 8 or 9 that come from upstairs, and then there's another entrance where they exit from. And at that time, they had them in the front and in the back. So there was quite a few people living there. And, I didn't know I don't know who they are, I don't know anything about it. So that went on, and then we got a couple license plates number, and they would fill up the van, would be about 7 people in one van. And then on Easter Sunday is when I came home, and that's when I saw it happen again. And I'm the one that called the police. And they had the front with the little bus, and then they had the back with the van. And all these people came out of there. So, and then they said that they did a check on it. Well, they wouldn't let them check it that day. They had to come back the next day, and then that day everything's perfect. There's 8 toothbrushes, 8 whatever. And there was more than 8 people in there. And that's kind of what I got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Again, let's not have repetition of what's been said. If you have something new to present. You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes, I do.
Name and address.
My name is Linda Scubin, and I live at 614 Cowles Avenue, which is directly behind this house that we've been talking about. And I have lived at this house, at this location for over 20 years. And just to address something that Mr. Hennessy said earlier, when I first moved in, there was a lovely lady that lived in the building named Irene, and she had lived there for many years. And over time, Irene would have many of her grandchildren live in the building. So perhaps that shed some light onto why there's confusion as to whether it's a single unit or a multiple unit, since she had her grandchildren living with her. But I have to say that at this time, I am not in favor of having this continue as a 2-unit rental property because of many of the things that you've already heard. I know for a fact that there are at least 9 people living in the building, probably more. I have seen 4 different vehicles come and go from the front of the building and the rear of the building, bringing people and taking people all hours. It doesn't matter day or night, they're coming and going. I have seen some people come in with suitcases on at least 3 occasions, which makes me believe personally that people are coming and going from this residence. And I think this is a bad issue, a bad thing for our neighborhood, because in a traditional rental situation, a landlord makes a lease or some kind of rental agreement with a tenant, and the tenant agrees to stay there for so long, and there might be a background check or some kind of check done on the tenant, and there's some stability there. And in this case, we don't have that. We have people coming in and out. We don't know who they are. We don't know if they've been checked, their backgrounds, and they are not a family unit or single people. They are workers. And generally workers like this who are kind of transient live in hotels. And I feel basically that this house is being used as a hotel in support of a business. And that's my objection to it.
Thank you. Anyone else? You'll be the last person I'm going to speak unless, let's see, we have a city councilman back there.
If I'm the last one, can I speak a long time?
You know the routine.
I do.
And the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and address.
I'm Bob Knocktree. I live at 614 Western Avenue. I'm on the Kappa board of directors. I'm the zoning.
You're here representing Kappa?
Yes, I am representing Kappa. The Kappa board voted unanimously. That's 14 board members to oppose this petition. One other observation. If this is being used as a rooming house, the proper zoning is R4 or R5, which is wildly different from R3. And that's the end of what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? In favor or in opposition?
Opposed.
Pardon me?
Opposed.
In both?
No, opposed.
Opposed? Do you have anything new evidence to submit?
Different, it's not.
Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address.
Hugo Gamino at 525 North William Street. I live just across the street on the other side of Douglas from this block, and there's already a nuisance property on 600 North William, and that's the one on the corner 601 North William, and that's the one I live directly across the street from. And they're a Section 8 house, and they're coming and going all hours of the night, having problems, fights, arguments. They were involved in some sort of crime ring also, which I'm not gonna get into. But I just don't want another property on the same block having similar issues. That's all I wanna say.
Short and sweet. Okay, I'm gonna close discussion to the floor and ask the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to deny.
Second.
Can I make a rebuttal?
Yes, you may.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak again. Yes, the real estate lady was absolutely right when she said there was activity in the house. What we did on the activity at the house, people came in to buy the house. We went for a closing. The bank called the person who went for the loan, found out he didn't even have a job, right? And then the second time that when we went after it, somebody had made them a mysterious phone call and said it's not a 2-unit, it's a single family unit. And then that one got denied, and then they reapplied for a single family unit. The people are saying I got people coming in like transit. It's not like that. I'm working very, and I emphasize very close with the federal government, with the H-2B students that come in and work for me. They have a set time that they have to be at work. They leave early in the morning. They don't come back till early or late afternoon. And when they say with suitcases, that's only on a Monday because they take their clothes to the laundromat every Monday. That's the only day that they're scheduled to have a day off. It's a seasonal company, all right? I asked to buy that property. We went around, we canvassed the area. When I spoke to the one lady that now objects it, she didn't give me any objection. That's why I purchased the building. I asked the neighborhood, I walked the neighborhood. It was found favorable in the neighborhood, so I purchased it in the neighborhood. I went ahead to do everything I was supposed to. Then the one person says, well, we got to check for radon. It cost me $2,800 to sell the building because they wanted a radon check and found out they didn't even have a job. Whatever it takes, I'm going out of my way to make sure that we're doing everything right. Is it a transient place? No. It's a property that I'm doing everything that you're stating as it's supposed to be as a 2-unit. 2 personnel in each bedroom, and then each floor has 2 units on it. I mean, 2 bedrooms on it. So that's 4 per floor. I have it had a kitchenette in the basement. I was asked by the city council to come in and take the basement out, the kitchen rather. I did this. Whatever they wanted, they say, Robert, we want this done. We want this done. And I said, we'll do it. I jumped through all hurdles. I didn't realize I'm 60 years old and I know how to jump through hoops, but I'm jumping through every hoop, doing everything that I'm supposed to. It's not they said the grass is knee high or whatever. Show me a picture. It's easy to come up here and say, did this, got bad gains or bad activity in a house a block or 2 away, but nobody can say that. There was false police complaints that they had loud music in the house. The police got there's not even a radio in the house. They said it had loud TV in the middle of the night. There's not even a TV in the house. They said they had 8 toothbrushes, right? I own 2 toothbrushes, 1 for each bathroom that I'm in. I'm not here to say how many toothbrushes in the house. I'm here to comply. Right? I'm not here to go against anybody. If you tell me, Robert, it's a 2 or a single, I try to do both. Whatever it is, I want to be a part of the community. I'm jumping through everything. I'm making a building 110 times better than what it is. Whatever it takes to get the job done, they said, well, we need windows. Let's put them in. Robert, what are we going to do with some of the carpet that stains from the prior owner? Let's put hardwood floors in. Robert, it needs radon. Let's do it. Somebody came on pictures. Robert, we want concrete. Great idea. Robert, we need to put asphalt by the location in the back of the one garage. Perfectly, let's do it. I'm not here to say nothing. It has two separate entrances, 2 separate water meters that the city of Joliet is collecting on both meters as a two family. It's got 2 separate gas meters to it. Everything is set up as 2 separate units. What converted in the 50s, and I bought it in the 2017. It was allowed, and the city of Joliet took the water payments, took the gas payments, did everything else as a 2 unit. So if it was wrong, why wasn't it corrected? Why am I being punished because I'm trying to do everything the right way? And I do have background checks on there, and it's not a slumlord. I'm asked to do something, I don't back up, I do it. I get told, Robert, you got a background checks? I got passports and federal background checks on each and every one of my company's employees that are foreign. And everyone that's from America, we don't do just an Illinois background, we do a national background check. So am I got a good company? Yes. Am I proud to say I got a company? Yes. Am I proud to say that these guys work for me? Yes. Am I proud to say I can get them a decent style of living and not in a hotel? Yes. And all I want to do is comply. When I was told it was wrong, maybe, all right? So I sold it, let's try to get a new one. I found out people couldn't have jobs. That's why they can't get loans. Was it turned over? Yes. That's why there's so much activities, because there's so many guys and families applying for stuff that can't afford it, that don't have credit, but they get on the website and they want to come and look. Oh, I'll take it. Oh, I'll take it. Until they do the finances, and then they find out that they can't take it because they can barely pay the rent where they're at. I want to be here in this town. I want to comply. I want to do everything that I'm for, that you asked me. I don't want to get beat up no more. I just want to do what it takes to make it work. I complied. They wanted the radon. I did it. They're saying people coming in. I give you my entire route from where we work in the summertime. Their starting hours, their closing hours, what time I can do this for you. But it's no different than having my company have their people come and go than anybody else that lives in a town, that leave early in the morning or come in the afternoon or go out at nighttime. It's a business. Or wait a minute, I got residents there that go to work just like everybody else. I just want to say I appreciate if you do favor, and if I don't comply to one, you sanction me with heavy fines. God, sanction me heavy. But if I'm trying to do everything right, don't punish me.
I thank you.
May I briefly
I'll give you a couple minutes.
Thank you very much. It appears from the staff report that this property has been used for two families since before the 1965 City of Joliet zoning ordinance. And it appears also from the staff report that this property participated in the City of Joliet's city rental inspection program until it was determined that the owner was used one of the units. And at that time, which was 1993, the city took it out of the city rental inspection program. So the city has known for a long time that this has been used as a 2-unit. And you know, like the report says, there's 2 utilities. So there's been 2 City of Joliet water meters on the property, I believe. So this has been a long time use. You can see from the picture that it does not appear to be a 2-unit. So I believe it does not affect the character of the neighborhood the way it currently is being used as a 2-unit. And I would ask that the city approve the continuation of the use for something that's evidently has been a 2-unit use, you know, since apparently the early 1950s, according to the city staff report. I thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Call the roll.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you. Petition 2821, Alan Waite.
Mr. Chair, petition 2018-21, the petitioner is Alan Waite on behalf of Verizon Wireless. The owner of the property is Semino Investments Incorporated. The location is 1630 Essington Road, and the request is an amendment to an existing special use permit to increase the height of the existing cellular tower flagpole by an additional 18 feet. The petitioner, Alan Waite, on behalf of Verizon Wireless, is requesting an amendment to the special use permit 2008-46, which was passed by ordinance 16302, in order to increase the height of the existing monopole cellular tower by an additional 18 feet for the purpose of enhancing coverage for this area of Joliet. The request would not amend the other conditions associated with the original special use permit approval. This request must be considered by the City Council following the recommendation of the Zoning Board. Under site-specific information, the existing cell tower is located at 1630 Essington Road, which is the site of Semino's Restaurant. The restaurant property is approximately 3 acres in size and is zoned B3 General Business District. Verizon Wireless has a tower lease agreement with SBA and a ground lease agreement with T-Mobile for the use, maintenance, and operation of the existing cell tower within a 55.75 foot by 20 foot compound, which is located at the northwest corner of the restaurant building. The cell tower is 100 feet in height, and the compound is screened by a 6 foot tall board-on-board fence. Semino's also has an additional 8 foot tall decorative concrete wall for screening purposes on the compound's western elevation. The existing cell tower and compound facilities are permitted per special use permit 2008-46 and ordinance 16302. This case was filed April 6th of 2018. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character are B3 general business used for retail to the north and south, and R2 single family residentials to the east and west. Applicable regulations are as noted in the staff report. Under brief discussion, the petitioner is requesting an amendment in order to increase the height of the existing 100-foot high stealth cellular tower, which is designed to look like a flagpole, by an additional 18 feet. The City of Joliet zoning ordinance requires special use permit approval for cellular towers. The zoning ordinance does not specify height limitations for cellular towers. However, staff have applied the building height regulations of the zoning district to those proposed structures, and the maximum height for any structure in the B3 General Business District is 50 feet. The existing tower compound is located 100 feet from a residential zoning district, which meets the spacing requirements of the zoning ordinance for such towers. The subject property and properties to the north and south are commercial. Staff does not have concerns that an increase in height to the existing tower will have a detrimental effect to the surrounding neighborhood. The proposed height is consistent with the height of other cellular towers located throughout Joliet. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Ready? It's where the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and address.
Alan Waits, 230 Union Avenue, Batavia, Illinois. Thank you, Chairman, board members. Got a few slides I'd like to share with you. Try to make it kind of quick here. Could we go to some of the slides on the presentation? Keep going. Oh, I think there's another presentation. PowerPoint. Yes, next slide, please. All right, just this slide just lists some facts about cell phones and usage. 2016, nearly 10 trillion megabytes of data was used by cell phones, which is twice the amount used in 2015. And experts predict 7 times that'll be used in 2019. More and more smartphones, cell phones, other wireless devices are being used for calls, texts, emails, internet access, streaming, et cetera, at work, home, and at play. More than 80% of adults in the U.S. own a cell phone, and around 90% of those have their cell phones with them at all times. Next slide, please. So this slide shows information regarding health and safety. It's estimated 70% of all 911 calls are made from wireless phones. That's over 240 million calls. To be able to make 911 calls quickly from anywhere is one of the main reasons people own cell phones, especially for safety of children and elderly. Reports indicate over half the cell phone owners in the U.S. no longer have landlines. I haven't had a landline since 1999. Seamless, reliable in-home and in-vehicle coverage is essential for health, safety, and well-being of Joliet residents, especially when help, first responders, police, fire is needed. Next slide, please. So we want to talk about the beginning of a project. Verizon is constantly monitoring their network, dropped calls, call volume, insufficient coverage, et cetera, and they identify certain areas that require additional wireless facilities to meet these needs. So this map depicts the search ring area. It's a targeted area with the search ring, the red ring, where Verizon would like to have a new wireless facility. The blue and red pie-shaped wedges are Verizon towers around this area.
Let me cut you short here. Is this all part of a grid network that you're setting up? It's an essential element of that grid?
Right, yeah, it is.
We've gone through these many times. I think there's about 30 of these towers. And what have we got in the city? About 30 towers now or so?
A forest of towers.
A forest of towers, okay.
Right.
So you don't need to give us a sales pitch of what the purpose is.
Sure.
Why the extension, though? Is this needed? And just tell us shortly why the extension is needed.
Right. When they design the towers, they design them to accommodate more than one carrier. This tower currently has 2 canisters, and it could hold up to 2 carriers. But so I assume when T-Mobile built the tower quite a while ago, the assumption is they occupied only one of the canisters, leaving another one vacant. So somewhere along the line, they occupied the other level, and there's no open levels in this stealth flagpole for Verizon to install antennas. So they're required, to install antennas, we need to extend the tower. That's the need.
Right. Thank you. Is there any questions from the board? Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition on the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion second to approve the petition. Poll the board, please.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Ms. Darley?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye, thank you. Okay, petition 2018-23, Van Bruggen signs.
Mr. Chair, petition 2018-23, the applicant is Van Bruggen Signs Incorporated, Sam Van Bruggen. The owner of the property is Centerpoint Joliet Terminal Railroad Company, LLC. Location is 2951 Centerpoint Way. The request is for a series of sign variations in order to publicize and market the separate businesses that are located within the gasoline fueling station currently being constructed. The Zoning Board of Appeals has final review authority for this type of request, and the following variations are being requested. For the monument or grounds signs, the first one is a multi-tenant monument signs, for maximum allowed size from 80 square feet increased to 150 square feet, and on the height from 12 feet to 13.75 feet. And also for truck scale, or what they're referring to as goalpost signs, maximum allowed sign area from 80 square feet to 110 square feet, and on height from 12 feet to 21.5 feet, and also to allow non-masonry posts. On the wall and canopy signs, the variation is for an increase of maximum allowed size from 100 square feet total to 553.2 square feet total. Under site-specific information, a LNG or liquid natural gas fueling station for fleet trucks with above-ground fueling tanks was approved in October of 2013 for this location, but was never built. The subject site is now part of Lot 55 of Phase 13 of Block 3 in Centerpoint Intermodal Center at Joliet Subdivision, which was approved in May of 2016. A gas station with convenience stores and restaurants was approved in August of 2017. An 80-foot by 140-foot fueling center is currently under construction for Lens Food and Fuel. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character in 3 directions to the north, south, and east is used for industrial purposes, and the zoning is I-T, and to the west is agricultural land use, which is A1 unincorporated Will County. Applicable regulations are for wall-mounted signs and monument signs as noted in your report. And again, under discussion, the petitioner is requesting the series of sign variances for the new food and fuel, gas, and convenience store currently being constructed in the Centerpoint Intermodal Industrial Park. The service station with multi-tenant users and the additional canopies make this a unique use within the intermodal center. And to the IT district sign requirements. The following plans are the signs being proposed. I'm not going to read all of those, but there's a series of signs for the multi-tenant signs, the cat scales goalpost signs, the food and fuel signs, and also their truck canopy, the Dunkin' Donuts drive-through signs, the Canijo Tacos signs, as well as the Dickey's Barbecue Pit signs. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Raise your hands. You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and addresses.
Sam Van Bruggen Signs, 13401 Southwest Highway in Orland Park.
Hi, Len McHenry, Food and Fuel, 171 12 Point Drive, Orland Park.
Any comments you'd like to make?
Yeah, the purpose of our request was due to the fact that it's a retail type of a business with multiple food operations, tenants, and the zoning, the IT zoning is more designed for the intermodal terminal type operations that surround the property. So we were looking at signage to identify the various types of businesses that are. There's 3 food offerings. The auto fueling, truck fueling, as well as the C-store.
Any comments you'd like to make, sir?
Just a short comment that this is pretty typical of what we put in all our stores.
Okay. Questions by the board? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? You in favor or opposed? Come on forward here. I must swear you in, ma'am. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address. Lower the microphone.
My name is Kathleen Garthus. I live on Meadow Road, which is got to do with their west entrance over there, that they got outlined over there, the west entrance over there on Meadow Road there. You know, my question is like with these cat scales, with that west entrance there on Vetter Road there, are they intending on making the trucks come in there? Because there are signs at the end of Vetter Road that says no trucks. And I understood with when this went before the Joliet City Council that the owner of this restaurant, this place assumed that the trucks were using Vetter Road to get in that DHL Mars Candy warehouse. I had to tell them, no, they are not. They are using Cedar Creek to go in and out.
Ma'am, this is only about putting up a sign. It has nothing.
But I got a question there. Where do they want to put these cat scale signs at? Right there on that west entrance? Off of that west entrance there on Vetter Road? To where then the trucks got to come in and out on Vetter Road? Where it says no trucks? That's my question.
Somebody's got to answer that. Do you have any comment on that?
I'm told by our planner that they can come, trucks can come into this site from Vetter.
But there's no.
They just can't go north.
But at the end of Vetter Road there from right off of Center Point Way, it clearly says no trucks. And that is way before, that is south of that entrance there. So the signs are before that.
Before this board, we're just voting on a sign.
Because why are you going to let trucks then come on a Vetter Road, which they says clearly says no trucks then?
With that, ma'am. This board has no control over that. You're
Well,
talking
if you're
to
going
the
to
wrong
approve for them to
floor.
put cat scale signs there on that entrance there, it does have to do with Vetter Road, okay? I'm sorry if you don't think that. Okay, if you're gonna allow them to put cat scales right there at that entrance to where then, that obviously is where the trucks are gonna come in at, well, I oppose that.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak? Chair, close the petition to the floor and ask the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion is second to approve the petition. Call the roll.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Ms. Darling?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Petition 2018-24.
Mr. Chair, petition 2018-24, the applicant and owner is Aldi. Location is 2601 West Jefferson Street. The request is for a variation on side yard setback from 6 feet reduced to 3 feet in order to allow the addition of an existing grocery store. The Zoning Board of Appeals has final review authority for this type of request. Under site-specific information, the 2.06 acre subject site was part of Lot 3. It is Lot 3 of the Jeff Cat subdivision, which was approved in October 2013. The former Joliet Dodge dealership was demolished and a 16,400 square foot Aldi store was constructed in 2014. The existing zoning is B3 general business. This case was filed on April 17th of 2018. Surrounding zoning, land use and character: to the north is residential, zoned R2. To the east is commercial, zone B3. And to the south and west, commercial, zone B3. Applicable regulations are as noted in your report regarding required yards in the B3 district. Under brief discussion, due to the unique topography of the site, and there is an attached photo, in relationship to the higher property to the east, with existing utilities in the side yard, a 0-foot setback was not possible to achieve for the proposed building addition. The alternative setback would be a 6-foot side yard, but this would not allow Aldi to accomplish their desired expansion needs. The 1,600 square foot addition, which is 12 foot wide by 133 feet, 5 inches long, will allow Aldi to add a new 16-door cooler and separate meat cooler to their existing operation, and there is floor plans in your packet. The block retaining wall will remain along the east property line, and the existing catch basins will also remain in place. The addition will be required to match the material on the existing building and will meet the city's non-residential design standards. Off-street parking will not change as a result of the building expansion. And under conditions, if the board approves this project, there would be one condition included, and that is that the addition match the existing building material and meet the requirements of the city's non-residential design standards. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and address.
Kyle Wood, 221 Schrock Road, Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. You pretty much know what you want to do.
Yep.
We're talking about the east wall and the retaining wall there of the auto dealership. That's the space. How many feet are in there?
So that wall, the property line or the wall kind of goes a little jagged from the building. It's not totally square.
Does it run on an angle or what?
It does. So from I'll call it the northeast corner, the wall is approximately 11 foot 3 inches off of the building.
So how big is the extension going to be?
So we're looking for it to be approximately 12 feet. The preference would be to take it up to the property line. I understand.
Well, I think that's just of my question. At the one end, at the southern end of that, you don't even have 12 feet, I don't think.
We have 15 feet.
From the back of the building to the retaining wall?
To the property line.
Where's the property line?
That's 15 feet from the back of the building.
Does it go beyond the retaining wall?
It does.
Aha.
So the preference would be to go up to that. However, the way that the car dealership is sheet
So the
drainage
dealership is actually sitting on part of your property?
It's hard to say. We just got the survey. I don't believe it is. There is, you can kind of
It is
see.
if you're measured there, because it's, as you just said, it's not 15 feet.
The property line is 15 feet from our building.
If you go to where they're occupying your land, it would be, but from wall to wall, it's not.
Correct. At the front, it's actually wider.
That's the only objection I have, is I didn't see how you're gonna put this in there if there's not 15 feet. But if you say that the retaining wall is on your property.
It is.
It's sort of a convenience for the car dealership.
Correct. Yeah, like I said, the preference would be to expand 15 feet up to the property line, and we wouldn't have to go through a variance request. However, the way that the parking lot for the car dealer is all sheet drained towards our property, we feel that it's necessary to provide a buffer for proper drainage.
Did the staff measure that off? I mean, is that gonna be a complication of any kind?
They have to provide a survey for the building permit, and what he's indicating in his testimony is that their property line is actually beyond what you.
Beyond the retaining
beyond
wall.
the retaining wall. So
As I say, I was out there.
appear to have adequate room to build their
It
addition.
wasn't 15 feet. Okay, that's my only comment on this.
Yeah, Aldi built the retaining wall there. So we're aware, when we do the expansion, the intent is to take the building back to the wall. We'll remove that section where the building will be.
And you don't have any problem with the auto dealership on this, the ownership of their property?
Not that I know
Are
of.
they
There'll be
aware that you're gonna
coordination
be moving the
required for
retaining
construction.
wall?
Well, the new, obviously it'll be shored up. The new building will act as a retaining wall and the building wall itself.
Well, that's a lawsuit you may be looking at, because I don't know, are they aware of what you're gonna be doing?
It's all in the works.
Okay, you say so. Any other questions by the board? Anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is anyone opposed? Chair closes petition to the floor and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the roll.
Ms. Darling?
Aye.
Mr. Ferguson?
Aye.
Mr. Graham?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Thompson?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Okay, under new business, no public hearing. What do we do here, sir?
That's just the agenda title. It's always there, and it will always be there, but there are no items listed, so you can move on.
Public hearing, there's no business. Under item 8, old business, no public hearing, no business. Public comments. Anyone wishing to speak regarding non-agenda items?
Me. I would like to, not a speech, but that whole business on that property, the 2-unit, 1-unit, has the city ever given any thought to working with the lending facilities and the board of directors of the realty board and sort of caution them about taking clients to property that hasn't been, properly looked at and determine whether it's the proper zoning or not? Lori Gilmore was right on target when she said that. You get somebody that comes in from out of town, they have no idea, and you get some shyster realtors who just want to sell something and walk away from it. I mean, I was talking to Ed before about title insurance and things. When you buy something, you're supposed to be, you pay for title insurance in order to be covered that you're going to get a clear and honest title without encumbrances to it. And it would seem to me that buying what you think is a 2-unit when it's a 1-unit is an encumbrance.
If I'm not mistaken, there's those zoning and disclosure forms that have to be filled out at the, prior to closing.
And the bank should be doing it.
Yeah.
Well, both the banks and the
mortgage.
The attorney that takes care of it normally will review all of that and set it straight.
I'm just concerned that this isn't the first time that things like that have come up. That people have bought property, they have no idea how it's zoned, or that they should even be checking the zoning. Nobody tells them any of that stuff.
A lot of times they're cash sales too.
Yeah, but somewhere along the line, somebody needs to, I don't know if it's not our job. I'm not trying to give you more work, but I would certainly like to see something done, a leadership on the city's part to work with the lending institutions.
Well, we can certainly try to educate people, but Mr. Torrey was just informing that usually what happens, or occasionally what will happen, is if it's a cash deal,
right,
that paperwork may fall through the crack. But I know when I purchased property, there was a zoning disclosure form. I mean, the sellers had to disclose what the zoning was, and just being a planner, I double checked, triple checked.
Well, then it's like Laura said, let the buyer be aware.
Right.
And I understand that. But I feel for some of those people who maybe aren't capable of being aware, or that maybe not said well, but don't pursue it that much. Just a thought.
I don't think it hurts to try and educate those other groups, but how do you get 100% compliance?
You don't.
you're still you'll still see these types of cases, unfortunately. And a lot of it stems from the fact that, you know, things were done so long ago, and really none of us here can answer how and why it happened, but it did. And obviously, there was testimony that there are 2 water meters. It's been a 2-unit, so.
So I can understand why a guy would see that property, see the 2 units or the 2 meters and everything else, and think this is a 2-unit.
Well, the water department does determine that. They just go there and put the meter in.
Exactly.
Same with the gas company. They don't make a determination on whether it's an actual 2-unit.
And sometimes if we get publicity on that in the paper and things, you know, it sort of motivates people to pay a little bit more attention.
Yeah, I don't think we can educate people enough about buyer beware.
Well,
thanks, Bill.
Perhaps we have another announcement. Ms. Rebecca Darley, I believe, has submitted a letter of resignation for the board. You've been on the board since 11, I think.
Yep.
8 years.
Yes.
And I'm sorry that you have done so. I mean, you've been a very gracious member of the board, and it's a great public service that people, and it's hard to get people to be on the boards, to find people willing to take the time. I appreciate your past membership and all the comments and things you've done with us over the years.
Well, I hope they find a good replacement.
Is there any special reason why you're resigning?
Off to better things, hopefully.
I mean, there's better things than the zoning board?
Well, we're moving actually out of state.
Oh.
So I'm no longer able to.
Well, it's been a pleasure serving.
I won't be traveling.
What's Forest Park going to do?
I don't know.
It's here for Rebecca.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, as they say.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure working with everybody.
Okey doke.
We adjourn?
Oh. Motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.